again for always taking the time to join me here on Chewing the Fat and Intellectual, iHeartRadio, and Spreaker. Oh, also in YouTube. So there is never a reason you have to miss any of our people on Intellectual Radio or Chewing the Fat. I am bringing to you today such a topic that all of us talk about amongst one another about what has happened to our parenting skills. Why are these kids running around ruling the homes? Why have our parents become more friends than parents? What is going on in society? Why is there more gang violence? Why is there more disrespect? Why are our teens, tweens, and children more disrespectful now? Can anyone answer that? Or do anyone have any speculation, any theories behind this? Because I do. I have a few, and I'm sure you all also can weigh in on the topic as well. Because guess what? You do not have to have a degree to have common sense. You don't have to have anything to have parenting skills 101. First thing is that you have to be a parent at all costs. No matter what it is, we are to be parents at all costs. And that's just the bottom line, and I just wanted to let you guys know that you have joined the queen, and she's just going to keep it totally truthful with you guys on this subject. There's no cutting corners when it comes to parenting. You will never be done with parenting. I always tell my elders in my family, especially the women, you guys tricked me. You didn't tell me parenting lasts forever, So I say that all the time because my oldest is 30, so I'm still parenting my 30-year-old. It never goes away, and I can just remember all the way just recently 2 years ago when my mom passed away, she was still parenting me and still calling me her baby, and I'm knocking at 50. So when you have a mom who still introduces you as, this is my baby, and still has a twinkle in her eye when she says that, it let me know no matter how old I got, I was still mom's baby. And there was a respect barrier. I never cursed in front of my moms and aunties and uncles. I never, even to this day, they don't have to be related to me. I still show elderly respect. I still say, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Even sometimes to people that are not even that older than I am, it's just the way that I was raised. It's reverence. It may become with titles, it may just come because of the position they are in, but it's reverence that I give, and it's because of my raisings. It has nothing to do with fear. It has nothing to do with brown nosing or any of those things. When you are raised with respect and honor, you just give it. And I think somehow the tradition and the morality of parenting kind of went out of the window when we decided to say, I want to be my child's friend. No, you are friendly to your child, but you can never be their friend. I always said, Mom is my best girl. I never would say my best friend because I didn't want to cross the barrier. I wanted the line in the sand to be very clear. I drew the line in the sand. Mom drew the line in the sand a long time ago, and I made sure it stayed defined. But she's my best girl. She's my best girl ever. She was my best girl ever. And still to this day, if I have to pull back on things that she has taught me or said to me, it resonates in my mind if I'm about to jump out of self, or if I need some conviction, mom plays in my mind because it was proper raising then, and so when you're properly raised, you really don't stray from your blueprint. And that's what happened. There has not been a blueprint laid over the last, I want to say 17, 18 years. And I can even go to 24, 25 because we have some that's pretty lost at that age, in that age range at 25 years old. And it's because we wanted to become our children friend. They're able to smoke weed in front of us. They're able to drink in front of us. They're able to curse in front of us. They're able to have sex in the same home. that we're in, and we're able to invite them in our homes with their little boyfriends, allow them to fire their little bees up or whatever up, and we make excuses and we say, I'd rather them do this under my own roof than they do it outside of it. And I'm saying to these parents, that is a bunch of crap. Whenever your mind processes something like that, it is crap, because now you have just moved in a roommate. So when they begin to start cursing you out and your home is now their home, don't be surprised when they slam in your doors and disrespecting you. Because now you have a roommate, you have a peer. This is your peer. This is, if you don't have a spouse, this is your spouse. They're taking the place of what should be your spouse. What should be your mate? If you're not married, your mate in the relationship, your partner. And they're not your partner, they're your children. They are to make their own homes. You should have sufficiently raised them well enough that they can go out and make their own home. In the Bible, there's a scripture that said, when I was a boy, I did boyish things. And when I was a child, I did childish things. But when I became a man, put away the childish things. It's the same thing. If I'm raising you as a child, the things and the behavior that you do as a child, when you become a man or a woman, then you need to make your way, because you can't do it in my house. It's really hard for two queens to rule. It's really hard for two kings to rule. You've never seen that in a castle. Never seen it in any castle. They had to have their own kingdom. It would never work, because the ideals and the views and the things that in your castle may be very different than their views and perspectives of the way that they want their castle to rule. If I say I don't want dishes in my sink overnight, that's what I mean. If I say I need my bathroom cleaned twice a week, that's what I mean. Not once a week, not when I feel like it, maybe 2 weeks. If I say I like my walls wiped down, that's what I mean. I need my walls to be wiped down, because that's what keep your home clean, freshness. So children may not do the things that you want them to do in your homes, because independently they should be living on their own. And so when they first get their first apartment, guess what? They may not, they may not treat your home as they would their own first home, because guess what? I can remember going to all of my children's first places, and they were not up to par the way that I would have wanted my home to be. But guess what? I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go into their homes and start going berserk like I would in my own home, because it's theirs now. I may have said, "Ooh, who raised you? What barn did you grow up in? Oh my God. Ooh, who child are you? What reflection is this? It's not a reflection of me. This is your own, this is your own mess." So I'll say those things and I'll leave it at that. But guess who home it was? Theirs. And mommy was a guest, and mama can get in and get out just as quick as she walked in. I didn't even have to cross the threshold if I didn't want to, because it's theirs. So that's the difference. That is the big difference. Huge difference. So some of us get so relaxed with our children that they are able to bring and do anything within our homes. And we're okay with that, because somehow we're trying to get back what we lost. Maybe time. We can never get the time back. If we had those children young, we spent our youth raising them. So we have to grow up. We have to grow up. And if we had those kids at 16 and 17, we can't get 16 and 17 back. It's over. So we can't live vicariously through our kids. Thank you, Jackie. We can't. And we have to let them have their rites of passage. I can't party with my daughters. Now, if they're having a milestone birthday, their 25th, their 30th, their things like that, or their 21st, and I take them and to the first bar and I say, this is what you do. This is how you cover your glass. This is how you watch yourself. And I normally do that spiel when they're on their way to college, because I prepare them for the wolves, and look, I keep it realistic with myself because you can raise them and say, well, don't do this, don't do that. And they'll do it. But I also am a realist. And I have to say, if you partake in these things, this is the way that I want you to be prepared. This is what I want you to watch for. So saying those things is one thing, but going to join your children at the club and you're breaking it down low with them and you're going out with them. I was watching one of those love and hip hop movies, and I think it was Miami last year, and the mother and the daughter was called Kitty something and Asian something or something. I don't really know their names, but the mom was clubbing and looking for men with her daughter, and so she goes off with the younger man. And her daughter goes out with the man they're all the same ages, and they thought it was cute. And the men were talking under both mom and daughter clothing line, and the mom wanted to fight with the other girl with her daughter. What example as a parent are you showing your daughter? Are you showing her how to be a queen? Or are you showing her how to be, what's the word? The thought. Are you showing her how to be uh, hood? Are you showing her how to to rumble and to pick up men? And it's okay if you sleep with this one, find that one who got money and run through him, and then here go another one with money. That's not. That is not what mothers do. Men do not show their sons how to go and stick up a spot. We don't show them how to bang. We don't give them their first stars in stripes on the block. That's not what a man does. A man show their son how to eat many days because they're going to teach him how to fish. They don't throw him the fish. Here, boy, here's the fish. But did you show your son how to fish so he can eat many days and make his home? These are the things that's missing, major components. You are setting your young men up to be failures in their own homes, to be no good for any woman. Some of these young men are still on breast milk. They on and those who off the breast milk is still on sippy cups. Don't know how to move forward without being disrespectful, without being emotionally and physically abusive, without being a terror in their own community. No parent in my generation would give us an option of school, nor would they give us an option of church. Hi, Lawrence. Thank you for joining. And hey, Titta. Thank you for joining me as well. And Sherry, I see you all. Thank you all for joining. If anyone want to weigh in on this conversation, you can reach me at 708-223-8953. I know a lot of you have a lot of wisdom. Hi, Tammy. I see you also join me. Hey, sister. So it is a lot missing. We could not miss school, nor could we miss church. There was no option. Even if the parents were wine heads, dope fiends, never attended church, guess who was going to Sunday school and church on a Sunday morning? Those children. They would send them with whoever was going to church in that community. Or if there was a community church, which we all know there's a 5 churches on every block in our communities, they were sending them to church. Now there's no fear of God. If there's no fear of God, I feel nothing. I fear nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. So now we have no fear of authority, no fear of parents, which is also your authority, your first authority figure. You do not fear God, which is the ultimate authority figure. So I'm out here, a demon with stress, a demon with hatred, a demon out here who think they are invincible. And even if I don't think I'm invincible, I really don't even care if I make it because no one cares for me, or I get to do what I want to do. Or guess what? My parents make excuses for what I do. My parents will hide me and cover me from what I do. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Where have we gone wrong at? Hi, Marcus. Hi, Lawanda. Where have we gone wrong at? Why do we feel the need to be our children friends? Where? Hey, where do we feel the need? I don't understand. Why do we thrive off of not being a parent, but being a friend. But we're the first one to jump to the fence if our child is hurt in that street, shot, placed in jail, talked about, beaten, ostracized, all of those things. We are the first to jump to the fence, but the last to correct the behavior. Last one. Thank you, Sherry. We're the last one to correct the behavior or try to be part of the solution. I moved away from my original community now 17 years, 18 years, going on 18 years this August. I still go back to my former community, talk to the aldermen, Jason Irvin and also Michael Scott, because both they're center blocked in the Lawndale communities. I go to both of them. I still petition for things. I still ask for things for that community. I voted on the park over there. I still give out book bags. I still donate money. I still do a magnitude of things for the edification of that community because I came home from my mother's womb in that community. I lived there for over 20 plus years in that community. So I feel that is a part of my DNA. So I try to do as much as I can. In my new community, we do the same thing. There's outreach in that community and I play a part in that. And so that's the Austin community. And so I'm viable to that community. My mom was under, and that's Jason Irvin as well. And my mom was, and my property was under Emma Mitz. And so I was connected to Emma Mitz. So I get connected to the people that governs over our communities. Now, it is very true that things have changed. Park districts and all of those things have kind of changed a little bit from when we were growing up. But I want to tell you this. Those same park districts and programs still exist. But as parents, if we do not go out and research what we need to do as parents to get our children enrolled in these programs, your kids are not going to go. Because if you are not the first initiator, it's almost likely that your child would not be involved in anything and they are floaters in these dangerous streets. Times are quite differently than they were when we were growing up, but yet there was still violence. We still had gun violence. We still had gang banging. We still had wars. We still had all of those things, but our parents kept us involved. My parents cultivated me. I would take a bus downtown, go to Lion Healy piano school and American Music World. So I took piano classes. I went to dance school. Then I would go over to the boathouse and do urban dance and art class and drama and then vocal. And so all of those different things. But so my parents kept me busy. The cultural centers are still open. Now, at first they started the higher assessed fees, but you can go and get a waiver based on your income and your children can go free. But if you don't research this, how do you know? You don't go over to the park district and you don't speak to the supervisors. You don't build a relationship. Some of these programs are suffering with enrollment. They would allow your children to come for free because they don't want their facilities to be shut down. The libraries have programs all summer long for your children for free. But no one wants to get out of the bed because they stayed out partying all night, summer nights, and smoking all night, summer nights, and they don't want to get up and put their children in a program. There are public schools that have summer camp programs that my grandchildren are even in, and they go for free and they stay gone from 8 in the morning to 2 p.m., giving just not the parent a break, but giving the child some activities to engage in and to keep their mind on something positive. But we in today's society don't want to get out of bed and do the things that's necessary to do to keep our children's minds not being idled in a devil's workshop. We allow them to link up with those who are not doing anything, and then they get involved in other activities. And then we want to say, I can't do anything with my child. I've never heard such a thing that a parent can't do anything with a child under 25. I mean, my kids are 30 and I still can do something to 30, 28. I still can do something to them. I still can have influence over my kids. I still can put a bug in their ear and say, this is what's going to happen. Now you're grown now, but I'm telling you what can happen. These are the steps. And this is what you can't reach for me for. If you do this, I don't accept phone calls. I don't put money on the books. I don't do this. I don't do that. These are my rules. Some parents would send their rent money to their kids in county. I'm not sending anything or paying for a lawyer. If you go out there and do something that I didn't raise you to do, that's not me, because I've raised you better. I've given you a different path. And if you choose to stray away from the blueprint I give you, then apparently you've created your own blueprint with an out. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. You'll figure it out. It's called your life's path. And that is what we have to learn to do. Sometimes tough love is needed. Sometimes God have to show individuals their own path. We engage in what we want to engage in. As adults, think about it. How much time do you spend on social media? I'm a pause. And I want you to be honest. How much time? Just calculate it, whether it's at different points in time in the day, but calculate that time. Me, myself, about 2 hours with all my different pages. Then calculate how much time in a day do you spend with your children? I don't care what age they are. Calculate it. Meaningful time, not put that down, sit down, see, get your little down, go get your little, you just like it now. Meaningful time. Calculate it. Teaching time, wisdom time, sculpting, molding, shaping time. Calculate it. And some of you all don't have 15 minutes with a child as young as 5. You'll shove them a tablet and let them watch it all day. You'll place them on a video game and let them entertain all day. The child have to come and tell you, Mama, I'm hungry. Daddy, I'm hungry. You don't have sense enough to have the scheduled meals ready for your child. They have to prompt you, and you still don't move quick enough because your hand is still on your phone, scrolling just like this. And then you wonder why children resent some parents, why your 12 through 16-year-old is running away or looking for love on the internet. And they up with some 25 and 30-year-old person who prostituting or have them hustling early. Women and men, because young boys and girls, because both can prostitute, both can hustle. Because I know both that does it, young men and women that are in crisis from prostituting or dealing drugs. Those valuable moments, because I promise you, when they're really young, savor those moments. Those are the best moments to mold your children, the best times to put the best things in them, because this is when you can shape them the most. This is when you can pour out the best of you into them. But you need to have the best of you. Now, if you don't have a great you, it's time to self-reflect and start to get those things, because you're raising little people. And these little people are reflections of us. And so what we put out here is a reflection of us. And we have to always remember, hey, Phyllis, hey, Trenda, how are you guys? I'm sorry. Hi, Nicole. How are you, Tiffany? Hey, Denise. Hey guys, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys for joining because this subject is, I'm really passionate about this subject because everyone wants to talk about violence. Everyone wants to talk about all of the Chicago violence. Where have we gone wrong? What are we doing? What is this? What is that? Why are all the kids getting high? Why? Well, a lot of the problem is we stop parenting. No, not a lot. 95.5. We stop parenting. We stop shaping. We stop molding. We stop being available. We started our selfish crusade. Mamas are worried about baby daddies, not children of the father. It just became baby daddy, baby daddy, baby daddy, baby daddy, baby mama, baby mama, baby mama. It's no longer respect title. The child of the father of my child. I don't care if the man was never around or the woman is not good and whatever. Your child should never hear the ill speaking of that parent. But you do it, and now Junebug don't have respect for daddy, so he's calling him what you've called him. So now the father figure who helps mold and shape that young man into a man can't because you have dogged him out because he cheated on you. It has nothing to do with him being the father of your child. It's a separation. Relationship and you and the relationship and that child is separate. No matter what you feel about him, should not be an overspill to that child. And it's vice versa to the woman. No matter how you felt, she's hurt you or wasn't there for you or you moved on to something better, you leveled up or whatever terminology you use. Hey, Denise, baby, whatever you've used to describe the mother of your child, it should not be a spillover to your child. You should be there for her or him. We need to stop. This generation is now producing children who have not learned anything from us. So now we are grandparents. The buck should stop now. It's time for us to save our grandchildren. It's time for us to even save our kids because they're not getting younger. We have 25-year-olds with no direction. We have 30-year-old children with no direction. Still yet to this day, don't have a direction on who they want to be. By the time they're 25 and 30, their career should already be in focus, in play. Not still finding themselves. There are 30-year-olds already with 2 and 3 properties. My oldest, Quenisha, has a home, summer home, and just closed on another home last week. 35, that's my baby I raised. Yeah. So not boasting, but just showing just the mindset that you can have when you really want it, when you really desire it. If you desire it, you can have it. She has more than the average 50-year-old. Some of us still just have one property, or none. We're still, renters or whatever. But what I'm saying is if we desire it, we can have it, but we have to get it. We have to get it younger. We have to be molded, and we have to stop being our children and be their guides, be their oracle. You remember in the Matrix, there was an oracle, the all seeing, all knowing. We may not see and know everything, but let's see and know what we do know and give that to our children. Let's start to be a part of solution and nurturing and wisdom instead of always finding a way to compensate and make excuses for our children's shortcomings. When we see it happening, that's when we should pull them back and draw them back to us and say, hey, sweetie, let's have a conversation. And there are ways to do it without being so stern with them as they get a certain age. Sometimes my kids have to tell me, "Ma, I'm an adult now. Stop talking to me like I'm a kid." And they catch me because sometimes I think I can rap down on them like they're 10 again, but in my eyes they're still 10 again. Because if I see them going into a destructive or a path that I dislike, I'm going to rap down on them just as if they are 8 or 10 or 5, because they're my babies. Always. Like my mom still looked at me and say, "They're my babies." Hey, Sister Bree, they're my baby. She's my baby. That's how I look at them. And I say it to them. So we never get out of being our children parent. I don't care how old they get. Now, we can get weary, we can get tired with the same child having repeated episodes of getting themselves in trouble or starting to behave differently, Barbara, hey, and doing things that we know that we are tired of, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's back and forth in jail, whether it's constantly bailing them out, whatever it is. So we have a right to say, "Look, you don't get it. I've told you over and over again. So this time I'm going to take my hands off you and I'm going to allow you to figure it out on your own." Then that's when we can step back. That's because we're pouring and putting in. Now, that's part of parenting. That's not part of being a friend. That's part of parenting. These are things that's given to a parent, what a parent can do. So when, oh, this live just jump off. So when we do that, we are able to say that we are doing the best that we can do with our children. We're doing the best that we can do with our children because we've given them the blueprint. We're stopping them when they're making these ill actions, and we are not going to be a part of their repeated actions of failure. I won't continue to bail you out. I'm not going to continue to watch you throw your life away. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to help you stand on the block. I'm not going to be a part of you or taking whatever you're getting from there and bring it to me because you paying me to. No, I'm going to allow you to free me from that web. And you can do that. You have the right to say that and do that. And when you say and do that, you stand on that. And then that child would know, okay, well, I can't play with mom. Mom would not allow me, or dad would not allow me to go back and forth off my word. I have to show them that I can be the best me that I can be. And that's all that we ask. That's all that we ask as parents, to show us how we can be the best us that we can be. And when we sit our children down and share with them some of our life experiences, because that's another thing, we try to hide our faults, our flaws, or the things that we went through. We didn't come here as superheroes. We didn't come here not going through anything. We did not come here without faults. We had them. We messed up. We may have strayed off here and there. It's okay to share that part of you with your child. It's okay, because then letting them see you as being flawed sometime, because we're not perfect and we're not perfect parents, and letting them know that, yeah, I've done this before, but I learned because, and giving them that the teachable moment is the best thing that we can do as parents. If we don't allow our kids to have teachable moments, how are they supposed to learn? Our girls, our young women, where has the etiquette went? Where has been a lady gone? How is it that young women, and I'm going to say it, go outside with bonnets on their head, house shoes, pajamas, cursing on the phone, don't care if an elder person is there, children are there, don't care who hear them, what they say, they are just there. Hey, I love you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you. And They don't care who or what they're saying and who hear them. That becomes a huge problem. That becomes a huge problem when they have they're uncouth. They have they don't know how to bridle their tongue. They don't know how to become a young woman or become a lady. I wouldn't even wear a scarf to a mail, but the mailbox used to be right around the corner from my house. I wouldn't even wear a scarf. I would take the scarf off, comb my hair down, and walk around the corner to the mailbox for my mom when we had to mail letters, because you never wanted to be caught undone. And that was just the way that we were raised. My mom said, you never want to be caught undone. You never want to be caught. You never know who will see you or what may happen. And you're caught like that. And I just was just brought up with that in my head. And so I just never believed in anyone walking out with a bonnet on their head, and coming down the street, and it's okay. You're at the grocery store, you're shopping at the mall, you have house shoes on, pajamas, and a bonnet. Like you just got out of the bed and came to the store. Some people still have coal in their eye and walking in the store. I would love it, Nikki. Let's do it. I would love to. And etiquette should always be a part of classes that young women should have. Etiquette classes, we had them as young women. We knew what a soup, a salad fork was, a dinner fork. We knew what side the utensil should sit on. We carried books on our heads. We knew how to sit up straight. All of those things. And people think it's funny now if you mention things like that. But you know what's funny? When you go to a restaurant and grown up don't know what a butter dish is or a finger bowl is, or what a salad fork versus a dining fork, that's what's funny, because you didn't have the proper etiquette growing up. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault, because sometimes we just were not taught. But that's what's funny. It's not funny to know that you have these skills in you. It's not funny you don't know how to be a chameleon. That your everyday dialogue should not be the dialogue that you use in the workplace. The way that you answer a phone, the way that you speak when you in a room with a dignified or a distinguished group. You should be able to hold an intellectual conversation. We went away from that. Same with young men. Our young men should be able to sit down and have intellectual conversations, should be able to throw the ball around and be versed on topics, not just about sports, not just about things that's happening in the neighborhood, but we should be able to sit down and speak to young men should be able to sit down and speak on verse topics about societal issues, things of the heart. Nikki, I wanted to go into public schools and teach it, and I was turned down. Nikki wanted to go and teach etiquette class in public school, and she was turned down. Why? I have no idea, but that could have been implemented in the after school program. What is it? After School Matters program. And they have funding in After School Matters. And all you have to do is pitch a proposal. And if you do that, exactly, it's no home training, Shakita. If you pitch the proposal to the right school, they may be able to give you the After School Matters funding. It depends on the principal you're approaching. You have to have the right philosophy behind the skills that's needed for etiquette. So I'll sit with you. I'll show you some of the things that just need to be in the proposal. It's all about the writing of the proposal, the skills that the young people will learn. It's about team building. It's about this. So it's the wording that's placed in a proposal that you have to give that gets you granted the funding and the children the skills. And the funding is so that they can go out into some of the restaurants, into some of the places, so they can see how it's done, how they should sit. Make them go into a 5-star restaurant. Let them see how hosting can be done. You can also bring them into places. Okay, Nikki, yeah, we can talk. It's not only the parents. We are dealing with rebellious children. We are definitely, Maria, dealing with rebellious children because you know why? Because the parents did not hold down that household. That's why the children are that way. The children are only the products of what the parents press out. Trust me. They are only the product of what the parents press out. When that broken home send out pieces of broken glass, we get cut. When the broken home sends out pieces of broken glass, we are cut. That's why we are bleeding at the arteries right now in the streets of Chicago because the parents are broken, so the kids are broken. This we had warnings a long time ago, 20 years ago, 20 plus years ago. We had the warning. When the grandparents who was tired raising those kids and they had those children and those children grew up and those children who grew up had children, this is what we're dealing with, Maria. That this is the product. This is it. The grandparents stepped in because they didn't want the children to be taken to the system. So they stepped in because then the grandparents didn't believe in anyone else taking care of their children. And so the grandparents would take those kids because you know why? Those who were not addicted to drugs was too busy running to the drug dealers, or the ones who weren't running to the drug dealers were the drug dealers. So those children were being taken care of by the grandparents who couldn't rip and run the street and kind of restrain them like they could their children before the grandchildren. So it kind of got out of hand, and those kids grew up and they had kids. And this is what we're dealing with. The parents are afraid of the children and want to be their children's friend. Exactly, Sabrina. And that's exactly what I'm saying. You hit it on the head again. And they are afraid of the kids because the kids are pulling pistols in the parents' face, and they cowardly up. But if you put the fear in them from the very first time, they could know what no and stop meant. And you popped their hand when they went at that electrical socket and they went over there by that stove. They understood all of those repercussions. Oh, I get repercussions from my parents. Oh, no, I won't do that. Oh, no. My son said last night, I still feel my mother. To this date, he's 28. I still feel my mother. I never heard of not being able under control. And he said it in front of me. Yeah, because he understands. Mama don't want to lose her mind, but she will. She can. But because it's still part of my parenting, I want to parent my children until the day they take me and put me 6 feet under or cremated, whichever one I choose to do. I'm tossed up for that because I just don't want to give up people all my money. I think my grandkids can enjoy that a little better. Hey, cousin Ken. Hey, Katina. And so I'm just saying that it's just one of these things that we have to understand as parents, that when our kids are 21 and under, we better stop saying we're afraid of them, or I can't do anything with them, or I don't know what to do. Huh? I can give you a lot of suggestions on what to do with them. A whole lot. So if you are baffled, I tell you what, give me a call and I'll come up with a couple of plans for you to do with that 21 and under child that you can't do anything with. Because there are a lot of programs, there are a lot of things that you can put your kids in. If you don't do anything but send them to Job Corps, you will be doing the best thing by saving your child's life. Because they take them, I think, up to 24 years old, 25. But you will save them from the street. That's you will do. And they'll be working, getting school, and a paycheck. And you're saving their life and saving you a migraine and anxiety, worried about if your child will return home alive. There are devices that the government has but into play. I guess you mean there's a device that the government has into play for the children of this generation. I'm sure for the failure of the children of this generation. Of course, there are different devices. Oh my God. Yeah. Well, for one, they have this great corporation called prison. That's one of the great devices. It's a beautiful corporation. It's called the New Age Slave Camp. They have a number for your back, and they got some things for you to create for us, products and services that they ship right to Amazon, and we can order offline. And it's a new corporation called Prison. And you're going to work for the government and get 23 cents, a dollar, and $2, and we're going to buy that product for whatever the amount is, and you're going to get paid $2. And you're going to be working just like a little slave, because that's all it is. Our new age slave camps, plantations. So they have them ready. It's already in place for you. They have them in place for you. And the other device they have set up is called I'll shoot you in your back and throw a gun down at your side. And guess what you just became? The next gangbanger when you probably weren't. Or the next person he was going for his weapon and I had to shoot him. So it's always something they got for you. But we're gonna be the one who weeping and slobbing over the casket. Why my boy? Why my daughter? Why you weren't parenting? Is the question sometimes. And sometimes we could have done all we can do, and that child will still do what they want to do. And that's when I'll say, you've done all you can do. All you can do is stand and pray for covering over you. Because sometimes we have raised these kids the best of our ability, and they still will do what they want to do. And so that's when you step back and allow God to be God and just hope that he cover them from the seen and unseen. And that's all we can do. But when it comes to parenting and you're not doing it, we are the ones that's held accountable. We are, at least until they're old enough to make the reasonable and conscious decisions of a young adult. We are held accountable for that, biblically and morally. We are held accountable. And we should be held accountable. There's no way that we should allow ourselves to be off the hook and throw our hands up to the sky and holler, as Marvin Gaye, make you want to throw both your hands up and holler. We shouldn't have to do it, but make us want to do it. It's sickening. Yeah, they push medicines on them all the time. They push medicine on our kids. They label our younger kids. See, what the adults think they're doing, allowing them to be diagnosed, and they think it's okay to get a Social Security check, Maria. And they think it's good. I'm a play crazy. I'm gonna get the Social Security check, and I'm good. They say I'm bipolar. They say I'm this. They say I'm that. And so they allow the labels to be slapped on them when sometimes they just need to talk out their dysfunctional raising, and that's that. And a lot of the children that's younger, the parents allow them to slap a label on them when all it is an overcrowded classroom and an overworked teacher, and all they need to do is find a better school system for their kids and more time to be placed with their children, and they won't have to be labeled with ADHD. But they don't label us as ADHD. In our communities, they label us with conduct disorder. And conduct disorder is the precursor for serial killer. So we need to be careful when we allow these school systems to diagnose our children. Who was it? One of my grandkids. Which one was it? Was it my grandson? My grandson. My mom had just passed away. Let me see what Sabrina's saying. They are saying it takes a community to raise a child. It's so true. And that's what the parents need to go back to, instead of parents are with the bull crap. Sabrina, you said a mouthful. And it says it takes a community and it takes a village. But I say now it takes a nation to raise a child. You know why? Because the communities are so broken up now. The communities are so dysfunctional. The community look like the walking dead now. If you walk over into some of our communities, oh my God, you wouldn't want them raising a kid. You first got to help counsel them and get them right, to help them to get them raised up right. You got some 50-year-olds still selling packs. 50, still hustling and giving your child a pack. So how can they help you raise your kid if you help them put a pack in their hand? So, what community is raising our kids is the question. What community? And where are our leaders in the community? Are they hiding? Are they sitting on their hands? One person is waiting on the next person. Where are our people? Sometimes, you know, the church had so many leaders. Now the church is forgetting that the church should be an outreach ministry. You don't just come there on Sundays. You should be walking the path. When the streets are bleeding at the arteries that the way that they are, it should be, if it's 5 churches every 3 blocks or every 5 blocks, I should see the presence of someone saved every time I look up. Why is it that we always see Jehovah's Witnesses, but we don't see the Christian community out the way that they should be? I'm just asking. Stop saying, I'm saved, sanctified, full of the Holy Ghost. Stop practicing that. Let your light shine. Stop saying I got to be every Sunday. I can't miss a Sunday. But yet, you not doing what it takes in your community to uplift the kingdom of God. Going to church every Sunday not going to get your salvation. I want you to know that. He looks at your heart. Same with our community leaders. If you say you're a community leader and I don't see you out there talking to these and mentoring these young men and women, you're not a leader. You're part of the problem. You just have a title. You have a desk, an office, or a title. And you're waiting on the next vote. Now, come election time, people say, I don't want to vote. My vote don't make a difference. My vote, my this, and that. You know why it don't make a difference? Because you're not making a difference. When the last time have you made your politician accountable? When the last time have you rallied together with your fellow community members and marched down to your alderman's office? Do you know you have a precinct captain? I bet you never knew you had one in this day and age. But you still do. Somebody get elected every year and get a check, but you don't report to that person. That's part of your parenting. Did you know that? That's part of your parenting. Stop making spring break. For us, it was called cleanup week. I don't know about anybody else, but we went to our local firehouse. We got rakes, hoes, shovels, and the community cleaned our area. The first part of community and part of being a parent is showing our children how to first love your community. And it shows cohesiveness in our community, which bring us with unity. It's unity in community. So you can't have division in a community that's working together like family. You can't have division in a community that's eating and breaking bread together after a long day of work, of working together, laughing together, sweating together. You can't. So when people tell me it ain't like it used to be over here, well, you're not doing the same things we used to do over here. Start with that. Start with that. So we can't go back to the way we used to be until we go back to the way we used to be, parents. It's easy to talk about them. But first, let's talk about us. If we are to gain control of our next generation and the present generation that we have to mold, because we can't do anything but try to mold them from where they are. Let's meet them from where they are. Let's meet them at their point right now. And let's talk to them on a level that they can relate to us. And let's show them what is our breaking points and levels. Then we can move forward. Then we got about 4 more minutes. Then we can move forward. But until then, we will stay at a standstill. We will continue to go in this destructive and tragic path. As we rotate, we would not evolve, but we would continue a destructive path. When officers would know, when the federal government came in, and I'm going to say it as clear as I can, and if you catch it, you catch it, and if you don't, you don't. When the federal government came in and started placing a lot of indictments down on what they said was gang activities and leaders, and these people had put their heads down and wasn't doing anything, but the community and the younger people respected them and respect who they were, but they were not engaged in any of the other activities that they say that they were in their 20 years, younger years. When they moved them off those streets, they allowed the levee to break. Remember, the levee broke in New Orleans. They allowed the levee to break, and a tsunami flooded the Chicago streets. And that's when a lot of the young people started doing whatever they wanted to. You had mothers weeping. You had the younger men that was lost. They continued to go into the wilderness even deeper. The younger children who was without the fathers grew up, and they became terrorists, and the levees broke, and this is the flood that we are left with. Just as New Orleans have not gained their footing still to this date, it is going to be years and years of cleanup that we will do in Chicago. Now they want to play cleanup, that it ran downtown and to suburbia. Little too late and too little. Now, the real cleanup is going to happen when we, the urbanites who been here on ground zero and knew what we were dealing with in the beginning, can come back to ground zero, just like they did in the 8th and the 5th Ward, and start to build again, because we are there and we're living through the worst disaster. We are living in that disaster. We losing the 8 a day, the 69 over the weekend. They not losing that in Oak Brook. They not losing that in Hoffman Estates. They not losing that in Bridgeview. They not losing that on Blue Island, in Tinley Park. We are in the Lundale, Austin, Roseland, Inglewood. We are. Garfield, we are. Who is supposed to do the cleanup? Logan Square, who is supposed to do the cleanup? We are. Now, if you want to take a great example of cleaning up your community, look at Little Village. The way the Latino community have gotten together, band a force, created all of the positions for their people. Go do a hunger strike and have high schools and junior high schools and middle schools and every kind of school built. That's unity. That's community and unity. We can get 12 schools shut down, and you won't get 5 people to pick it. 5 people to stand up. Think about it. Parents, let's parent together. Let's parent together. Let's take our children back. I am tired of watching the news with our children dying. I am tired of listening to kids walk up to a spot and say they want to cop a pill. I can't think. I want a Hulk. I can't even think of the name of the doggone thing. One of the kids said, and I looked around. I said, what the? I dwell in the hood. I want to hear what's going on. I don't want to pretend that I don't know what's going on. So if you want to be a part of the solution, start talking and mentoring those in the community. This conversation can be a part 2, because there's so much more to talk about. Maybe next week I'll bring a community expert on so they can give us some more advice. But this day with the Queen, I want to tell you guys, as I always tell you, what is it, Maria? They do the same division, Black Panthers. I am tired of them. All right, we're going to have to do a show, but I'm going to tell you guys to live life on purpose, live life with purpose, for without it, there is no reason. Let's take our street back, and thank you for joining Chewing the Fat, and I'll catch you guys next Thursday. Mwah, smooches.